Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellencies, colleagues, friends, once again, we meet in Brazil. More than 30 years
after the world created the UNFCCC in Rio. Now, after 30 COPs
and conquest-related meetings, many of our people ask, what have these COPs achieved? Climate change is still happening, bringing pain and loss. Just last week, Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, and the Bahamas. They need our solidarity now. But my answer to those who question what COPs and a wider process are achieving is to ask, what is the alternative? There is still no other forum where every nation can sit as equals to shape the planet's response. So we must make this process work. But to do so, we must recognize that a COP process and a wider climate agenda is not moving forward with the speed or success our people deserve. In part, this is because the agenda has been captured by the extremes. Some of that comes from climate deniers
and those who put profit before planet. We must keep challenging them. But they are not the only obstacles. Too many who claim to care about climate are also standing in the way. Countless activists dedicate themselves daily to climate justice. Yet, a vocal minority, often far from the front lines, capture the headlines with simplistic narratives and social media theatrics. Some irresponsible journalists saturate the public realm with misinformation and sensationalism. And too often, bureaucracies, including within international institutions, have become better at stopping progress than enabling it. These forces create a different kind of climate denial by generating public fatigue and skepticism that solutions can never be found. Here in Belém, we need that to change. Our challenge is not to dismiss COPs, but to fix the machinery of cooperation so that good ideas can move forward. And being in Brazil can inspire us. Under President Lula, Brazil achieved the largest reduction in deforestation ever recorded, an 80% fall that prevented 5 billion tons of carbon emissions. It is encouraging to see the spirit carried forward by the COP30 presidency. That is the right focus, and we support it wholeheartedly. In Guyana, we have seen how fair and effective solutions can work. When we launched our low-carbon development strategy in 2009, many said it could not be done, that a small country could not provide a model for the world or pursue growth while protecting its forests. But we proved otherwise. We implemented one of the biggest bilateral climate partnerships ever with the government of Norway. More recently, Guyana became the first country to issue R3's jurisdictional carbon credits, the first to engage with CORSIA compliance market, and the first to complete large-scale sales agreement. Guyana remains in net carbon sink, with our forests storing 19.5 gigatons of carbon. Carbon credit revenues flow directly to indigenous peoples and local communities, and to renewable energy, technology, job creation, and the biggest adaptation investment in our history. We have proven a simple principle. When people protecting nature share directly in its value, everyone wins. So if we believe this can be done, based on our experience, how do we recommit the global process to energetically solving problems? I offer 3 priorities. First, we must recognize that the world we face today is not the same as 30 years ago. The digital revolution, artificial intelligence, and automation are reshaping economies. Global energy demand is rising, including demand for AI and data systems that were not even imagined a few years ago. Yet chronic energy insecurity still defines the lives of billions. All of this makes one truth unavoidable. We must accelerate the energy transition at the same time as we expand energy security. That means moving on 2 tracks: massive investment to scale renewables, hydrogen storage, and modern grid systems to decarbonize growth and meeting rising demand, and science-based policy that advances a just transition by powering the remainder of the fossil fuel era with the lowest carbon, most efficient, least cost fuels. That means recommitting to global rules, not relying on global slogans. A carbon price, the removal of fossil fuel subsidies, and competition that is based on carbon science. And competition that is based on carbon science, not legacy advantage. It also means recognizing that responsible producers must be included in the search for solutions. None of this is easy, and it does not fit neatly into the narrative peddled by some. But it is only by grasping these difficult challenges that we will win the battle against climate change. The second priority is we must act on forests. Yes, we must act on forests. Forests must be mainstream in this agenda. They absorb around 1/3 of global emissions and remain the most viable and cost-effective opportunity for mitigation by 2030. Forests cannot be an afterthought. It cannot be a negotiated item on the agenda of COP. Forests must be mainstream and part of every single COP. We must not fight for forests to be on any agenda. If we are serious about climate change, forests must find a permanent place on the agenda of climate change. I congratulate Brazil for advancing the Tropical Forest Forever facility, the TFFF. It complements the work we are doing through the Forest and Climate Leaders Partnership, the FCLP, a group of almost 40 countries, co-chaired by Guyana and the United Kingdom. Together in the FCLP, we have worked with Brazil and other partners to develop the Forest Finance Roadmap, a shared plan setting out a menu of 6 complementary options to halt and reverse forest loss by 2030. The world must now act on all the financing options in the roadmap, expanding jurisdictional REDD+, scaling up the TFFF, strengthening concessional finance, and unlocking private capital. Once again, we also express our support for the Bridgetown Initiative. We must also connect to the other Rio Conventions by integrating biodiversity into our work. Healthy biodiversity strengthens ecosystem Strong ecosystems stabilize the climate, and a stable climate protects economies and sustains societies. This is why Guyana is expanding our protected areas to meet our 30 by 30 target, and why we launched the Global Biodiversity Alliance this year, bringing countries together to value nature in its entirety, not just the carbon it stores. And I want to congratulate and thank all those leaders, academic institutions, who joined us in the launch of the Biodiversity Alliance. Many speak glowingly about biodiversity and nature, but when a small country puts its hands up and say we are going to lead and we are going to launch an alliance, they cannot find the time to join that alliance. They cannot find the time to attend the summit on the alliance, but they will speak glowingly about biodiversity and nature. Let our words and meditation of our heart be followed by action, and not based on the size of countries or the power of country. Climate change affects us all equally. And I use this platform to thank all of those who embrace this initiative as we work towards enhancing and expanding the Global Biodiversity Alliance. The third priority is to advance adaptation finance. Even if all mitigation targets are met, millions already live with the consequences of climate change. For them, adaptation is survival. Investing in resilience protects lives, food systems, and economies. It strengthens stability and peace. So to conclude, we are at a hopeful moment if we choose to grasp the opportunities before us. People everywhere, and in particular, the people of the developing world, are offering practical, experience-based solutions. If we commit ourselves to shun extremism and instead promote collaboration, if we make our bureaucracies accelerate innovation, not trap it, if we unleash the financing options that are affordable and available, then more than 30 years after Rio, Belém will be the turning point when the world moves from promises to progress. I thank you, and God bless all of you.
Agora teremos a manifestação